It's roaches that are made into bars, right?
You know, it is substance.
Best not to ask for the specifics, so I'm very sorry that I just...
But that's for the tail. It obviously gets better.
But you can pick one up at Comic-Con if you want to try it.
Oh yeah, do they have
the bug bars here?
Eating a bug bar.
So if you're curious, check out a bug bar.
If you don't want to crap for 6 weeks, I'm just kidding, they're great. The bug bars are great. Yeah, we had them in San Diego. They're delicious. It tastes great.
Take one for your friends, they'll be so happy. Graham, we also saw in the movie that guns and bullets are in very short supply, and I'm sure that's also the case here. You know, everything is in very short supply, so I'm curious how you deal with the kind of violence and the fight scenes on the show, how that is aesthetically, and also the impact that that has on the characters.
Yeah, we sort of made a rule early. It's not that there's no guns on Snowpiercer, it's just that they're very limited.
Yeah.
First class, sort of their bodyguards and their butlers were allowed to keep some weapons for self-defense, but the rest of the train is totally medieval. And so the battle scenes are really gnarly and like, it's close quarter stuff. And pikes and spears and shields. And axes. The stuff that the props department came up with for these guys to swing at each other was pretty awesome. So that kind of, there's an elemental aspect to the battles, I think. It's pretty cool.
Any of the cast members want to weigh in on the fight scenes and the stunts? I know that some of you get to do some pretty cool things.
We did have an amazing stunt team who taught us some pretty badass moves with axes and batons, and David laughs every time I say axe, so I like to say it a lot. Axe.
It's good for me.
But yeah, we got some pretty good fight training.
It's intense. I mean, you know, killing somebody, to have to be that close to kill someone is, you know, it gets very real when you're shooting these things sometimes, and the stunt teams are so good. So when, you know, my job is to just swing a thing and not hit somebody, but the stunt performers are very, very good at making it look like I killed them. And you have to live with that for the rest of the tape, right? You have to live with the fact that you just killed somebody in this horrible, horrible way, which that's real shit. I don't know, it's not. It's the cool thing about having a show that is this well-designed and well-realized, that you don't have to act very much. I don't know, I'm not that good of an actor, so like, you know, like fear when you kill somebody is like, you know. And then the adrenaline rush when you kill 20 people, that's also scary, you know. You start to understand the Fifth Amendment a little more.
I'm sorry, I took it down to like murder and...
You did that.
I did. It was me. I'm so sorry, guys.
You asked the question.
I did. I'm so sorry.
Also, like, get rid of the guns. Turns out you can still kill people totally effectively if you're if your addiction to guns is that you want to be able to kill somebody. Guess what I learned last year? You don't need a single gun.
Well, Graham, you did kind of mention the visual effects versus the practical effects and how they're blended together, so I do want to talk a little bit about kind of how you translated this from the page to the screen. And I think that we have some images that we can show people of kind of how...
Sure, yeah. We're going to see just a few frames from the graphic novel at first. The sort of iconic Snowpiercer train on that top panel. It's this very brutish sort of, it has echoes of some Soviet trains that we researched. And we, as you'll, that's a good, so it's very brutal. And in the comic, the train is 1,001 cars long. So Director Bone's movie, I don't think it is, but we chose to make it this big so that we would never run out of new doors to open. If we go on, I think we're going to look at then some of our original designs after this. There we go. So that's an early digital rendering there. And from that sort of skin, I'm just pulling up a few people. I want to give some names of some of the amazing people who worked on this.
I thought you were controlling it from your phone.
Yeah,
Next slide. Next slide. This is my dad. Oh, this is Christmas, 1986.
So digital concept artist Joe Ito began these things and worked closely with our VFX guru and boss, Jeff Scott. So we can see another panel coming up, or another frame. It's another view of the train. Now here we are. This is a conceptual. So this is another stage where we're trying to see the scale. You can see the person in the foreground. You can see that we've kept the sort of brutal front lines of the comic book, but we're beginning to get into a little bit of more design here, a little bit more of the sort of 30s, a little Art Deco, a little echo of those great American trains from the 30s. The next panel, I think, is sort of where Jeff Scott got to, our final sort of approved image of Snowpiercer. So there she is, traveling 100 miles an hour or so around and around the world. And you know, from this, I think these guys have all seen some, you know, you can see the some of the final vis effects in the trailer that we launched at San Diego. So it's cool. It's cool to see these drawings again. Remember this process.
How long did this take, you know, from design all the way through to coming up with the final product?
I think it was about 8 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
And at that point, were you also kind of sketching out, you know, what the inside would look like, what all the different designs of the cars were, or was that kind of later on in the process?
That was sort of, you know, because we were shooting in those sets already,
yeah.
The interiors were really done and designed first.
Yeah.
This stuff, you know, the VFX, we're about to go into our into shooting season 2 here in October,
yeah.
And we're still finishing the visual effects in the finale from season 1.
Nice.
So it takes a while. It's dedicated crew of people like this.
Yeah.
Effects.
Well, now that we've seen the visuals, you know, not in motion, how about we see a little bit of the show in motion? That was a great segue, wasn't it?